Hit me.
From Studio A in Arcata, behind the redwood curtain, it's time for...
Succotash.
Yes, Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast featuring snippets from comedy...
Soundcasts.
And also interviews with comedians, comedian soundcasters, and other showbiz folk. And now, here's this episode's host from up the coast, the man who puts the X in Xbox and the tie on antisocial, Comedy Soundcast Soundcaster, Tyson Saner.
Saner.
Saluton, estas me, Tyson Saner, and I am your host this week for episode 259 of Succotash. Thank you for joining me. Did you happen to catch last week's episode hosted by my co-host and every other show host, Marc Hershon? It was called Mixin Up a Mess of Soundcasts and featured clips from the soundcast Did You Get My Text?, Left-Handed Radio, May Contain Nuts, Stay F Homekins, and a mini clip from The Midnight Miracle. He also featured a clip from a recent Jock Doc podcast in which he guest starred. That episode of Succotash is still available to listen to on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Radio, and several other listening platforms, so why not check it out when you get the chance? It's worth your time. This week, I've got clips for you from the Soundcast's Self Esteem Party, Conversation for Adults, and Comedy Bang Bang. And since it's almost summer, I've got an appropriate Henderson's Pants advertisement for the occasion. I can't think of a single reason to delay the proceedings any further, so on with the clips. First up, Self Esteem Party from the Sonar Network. Its description says, Self Esteem Party podcast is the perfect blend of comedy and honesty. Each week, Alana Johnston interviews one of her showbiz pals and dives right into the core of who they are in this hilarious and painfully real podcast that explores all things self-esteem. Alana playfully guides her friends through their own self-exploration while simultaneously cracking them up. Each guest reveals a different struggle with their own self-esteem, self-image, and self-care. They are powerful, relatable conversations interspersed with Alana's exuberant comedy. The clip I've chosen for you is from the episode from March 16th, 2021 with guest Nick Weiger, in which the description reads, On this week's episode, Alana and her guest Nick Weiger from Doughboys Podcast and How Did This Get Played podcast talk about phone-free Sundays, Alana's text anxiety, and how Nick is best friends with Alana's dad. Additional description says producer/husband/roommate Norm Souza threatens to start his own lasagna-based podcast, and Alana comes up with a hot new catchphrase. This clip is of audio from very early in the episode.
Okay, Nick, here's what we do on this podcast. We like to start with a self-esteem party check-in. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling about yourself today, last couple days, however long? What's up?
Well, I do have self-esteem issues in general. But I think lately, I've been doing okay. I've been a little bit more like, hey, it's all right, you know? So I'd say, do we looking for some sort of gauge, some sort of scale?
Yeah, we're going to, a 1 to 10, and you can give whatever number feels about right.
Okay, 1 to 10, and this is an exercise I learned from the Slate Political Gab Fest, which is another hot podcast. Not as hot as yours, but it's, you know, again, in the pod arena, people are talking about it. When you're doing a 1 to 10, if you omit 7, you'll get a more accurate, like, gauge, because people tend to gravitate towards 7 because it kind of has a neutral feel to it. So I'm going to say, with excluding 7, I'm going to give myself an 8. In self-esteem at the moment.
Oh my God. First of all, there's so much to talk about. First of all, let me just say that scale thing about taking away the 7, I often go to a 7 when I would say really I'm feeling an 8. Like if because I look at 5 as neutral, right? Either or, you could go either way. And a 6 is a bit better than that. But a bit, like if I go from a bit better, then I'm just better. And that would be an 8. Like 8 to 10 is like A plus, A minus, like, you know what I mean? That's what that would be on the grading scale in school. Right?
Yeah, that might just be a Canadian thing, because I think down here it'd be like 8 is 80%. That's a B minus. But 80%
also is a B minus? How can anybody graduate school?
Well, that's what leads to grade inflation. Everyone's just like, well, yeah, you got to give everyone everyone an A. I will say that it's Yeah, I think on a 10-point scale, for me right now, 8 is probably, and I have the same sort of thing. Like, I'll tend to err on the low side, but if I'm being honest with myself, I kind of feel like 8. I'm doing okay mentally. I'm getting the exercise, which goes a long way towards making me feel better.
Mm-hmm. Me too. That's one of those things, too, that, like, because you know why I'm not surprised by your 8? I'm excited about your 8 because, you know, especially the way things are now, really, when I do this podcast, I don't know what number I'm going to get from people, right? You just don't know.
Right.
It's right. But it's like, I will say this. You had, and not just because your beautiful curtains in the background, very good energy. When we logged on, you had a smile on your face. So I'm not surprised to hear the 8. Not that you don't smile, but to be smiling now is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't a lot of reasons to smile these days.
Yeah,
but you know, I live a charmed life. I'm very lucky that I can make an income from sitting in my stupid home office and talking into a microphone about fast food and whatnot. I think that it's yes. So and also you mentioned my smile. I've been trying to do that more. I've been like, I'll try, because I notice if I see video of myself or I see like stills of myself, my neutral face looks very disengaged or bored or even like a little like irritated. And I'm like that. Yeah. I don't want to be giving off that energy.
I might go as far as to say you look disgusted with whatever you're looking at. I should know from all the times you've looked at me and I thought this isn't going to end well. Yes, good for you for making an active effort to smile. That is, my therapist has told me this. It is something you actually have to like practice because he's like, smiling doesn't come naturally. And I was like, I guess he's right, because when I'm in neutral, I'm not in a neutral smile. My face is like dead face, like kind of like what you were describing of your face as well. So it's like, to smile, you will instantly make yourself feel better. You're like tricking yourself into thinking there's a reason to smile. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah, and I tend to be a little bit robotic in my mannerisms and my voice. I kind of have a flat affect. I kind of can sound like a monotone at times, which some people find soothing, but other people are like, you seem annoyed. So if I try to, sometimes I feel like, I'm trying to emulate human behavior more than which sounds like fucking Dexter, but I'm trying to emulate human behavior because sometimes that doesn't come naturally to me.
Right.
But it does actually help my mental state to be like, I'll try to just like put a brave face on it.
Yeah.
So you can find the show at Self Esteem Party. That is all lowercase SELFESTEEMPARTY on Instagram and Twitter at the same name. Also, you can use that same spelling and email them at selfesteemparty@gmail.com. Alana Johnston is on Twitter at lowercase ALANA_JOHNSTON. Nick Weiger is on Twitter at all lowercase NICKWIGER. And the show's website, apparently, is at thesonarnetwork.com/self-esteem-party. And the Sonar Network is spelled THESONARNETWORK.com. Next up, conversation for adults from Jimmy Israel. Its description says, culture critic Jim Israel rediscovers America by talking to people you may or may not know about everything. What comes up, comes out. Lots of fun, no filter. So the clip is from an episode from June 21st, 2021. It's episode number 90, and his guest is Andy Kindler. And the episode is called Andy Kindler, actually, everybody loves Andy, am I right? And am I right is one word. It's spelled capital AMIRITE. And it says, Andy Kindler, comedian, voice actor, and stand-up guy. I like that. Things definitely get real on this program. Roll clip.
Actually, my dad was he was very funny. Mm-hmm. And what happened was that because I saw my dad as my hero, I didn't kind of accept him as a human being. And then later on, I went through a weird thing in my life. And it was really interesting to me when I read The Quitter. Because it wasn't until I got into therapy 5 years ago that I realized that I have a tremendous fear of being beaten up. I had a tremendous fear of being beaten up my entire life. And I felt I wasn't a man unless I could fight. Mm-hmm. And I was bullied as a small kid and didn't see any way out of it. Mm-hmm. And just thought that I wasn't a man because I really thought this. So like when I read Harvey Picar's book many, many years ago, I was like, I was reading it from the point of view, like, why couldn't I be more like Harvey when he was a kid? But Harvey isn't saying, boy, am I glad I fought all these people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I just got this real male thing that a man has to fight. And you also, it's backed up by Billy Jack, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Billy Jack. You know what? I'm going to take my foot and put it on the right side of your head, and there's nothing you can do. This is how I fancied myself that I would have to do it because I did not understand that you don't have to fight. You don't have to physically fight.
Sure.
For me, the issue was the opposite of what other people's issues might be, where to me, once I realized that being a man had nothing to do with fighting, I let go of the fear.
Well, yeah, and that segues nicely into how we came to each other's acquaintance, because you read my my epilogue in Harvey's book, Harvey Picar's Cleveland.
Such a great book and such a great thing you wrote about him. It was very inspiring. I don't ever email, and it was like I gotta find out where you are, and I started to, because it was so. I think it's also one of the hardest things to write is to be able to convey someone's soul. And like you did, and you really did. It got to me, you know. It was really.
I appreciate that. I came up on Harvey's work, and interestingly enough, I would find out later when I became the Harvey Picar Scholar, or one of a few. I think there are like 3. That I also came up in the same neighborhood where Harvey came up, because Harvey, his people were immigrants, and he had to do a lot of fighting, not for nothing, because the demographics of his neighborhood were changing fairly rapidly as a lot of Jewish immigrants started to get a little bit of money. They started to move up Kinsman, and his people had a shop on Kinsman.
Right. And like a grocery
like a
store,
deli,
right?
like a deli / grocery store. And
he describes what they sold, and I mean, I love all that about him.
And but the people that left, they to their credit, I guess it depends on how you want to look at this, but they started renting to Black people, and that's how that neighborhood changed. And Harvey was still in that neighborhood as it was changing. It was I don't want to call it, it's not reverse gentrification. It's just the other way, gentrification. Yeah. And he was an other. He was an other, and he was also an other in a really rough time, in a really rough city, you know, where people, I mean, it's like a goddamn song from the city, Hot Time, Summer in the City, you know, back of my neck. I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's that's real time, you know, and people are angry, you know, Black people are angry, the Italians are angry, the Irish are angry here. The Jews aren't as angry because they've been here a while. They were here, right. And they were figuring out mobility. They were figuring out upward mobility. You know, you buy a piece of property, you buy a duplex, you move in your cousins from the old land. You know, you guys pool your money together. You buy a deli. Then you move out of that duplex. You rent it, and then you move further up Kinsman until Kinsman becomes Pepper Pike. But anyway, but yeah, so Harvey had to fight because his neighborhood was changing, and he was one of the last, or him and that's not accurate, but he was among the last stalwart whites in his neighborhood. Yeah. And it was during a time where there was some, because I have this conversation with my Jewish friends, because all my white friends are Jewish, but my Jewish friends aren't white. But but
they tell me online now, the Nazis tell me online now that I'm not white.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's one of their things, that Jews aren't white.
Right. Well, at any rate, there used to be like a symbiosis, at least here in Cleveland. There was a symbiosis between the Jewish community and the Black community, because we were both oppressed, you know.
Right. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
and then the riots, and then everything changed after that.
You can reach out to the show on Twitter at Convo for Adults. That is all lowercase, CONVOFORADULTS. The guest, Andy Kindler, can be reached on Twitter at all lowercase, ANDYKINDLER. And the host, Jimmy Israel, can be reached at Conversation for Adults, spelled same way as before, on Instagram. His no apparent personal Twitter. I do see that happen often, where a person's show will be their main Twitter. And, more power to them. And the website is conversationforadults.com.
Friends, summer is just around the corner, so you might be thinking to yourself, gosh, it's time to get out the suntan lotion, rubber thongs, and good old Bermuda shorts. Stop right there, Pilgrim. Did you know that every time you slip on a pair of their shorts, the British Protectorate of Bermuda receives a 2-cent royalty? That's right, which is why Henderson's Pants, a loyal and legal corporate entity of these United States since 1896, is introducing their Wake Island Abbreviated trousers. Roomy and comfortable like the Bermuda shorts you've come to love, but with the freedom that comes from knowing you won't be helping out the subjects of our former British oppressors. The stylish Wake Island Abbreviated trousers are named for the unincorporated tiny landmass in the North Pacific, which is a legal U.S. protectorate. Now, when those hot, sticky days of summer hit, slip on a pair of Henderson's Wake Island Abbreviated trousers and go for a stroll on the beach, around the pool, or through the mall. Feel free to wear briefs, boxers, or nothing at all under your new, snazzy, and 100% American abbreviated trousers, because, as a U.S. citizen, you have the right to stow your junk any way you choose. Originally designed for the U.S. Department of Immigration, trout farmers, and dark, seedy theaters, that's Henderson's Wake Island Abbreviated trousers, available wherever things you put your legs into are sold. And now back to more of Succotash.
Thank you, Bill Haywatt. Finally tonight, a clip from the long-running podcast Comedy Bang Bang from Earwolf. I have definitely featured shows from Earwolf many times in the past. Certainly not all of them. There's quite a few over there, especially over the last 10 years since the show's been going, since this show's been going, rather. Anyway, for those of you who have never heard the show before, this is the podcast version. There was even a TV version. Anyway, the description says, join host Scott Aukerman, and then in quotes it says, Comedy Bang Bang on IFC, and from Mr. Show, for a weekly podcast that blends conversation and character work from today's funniest comedians. While Scott begins by traditionally interviewing the celebrities, the open door policy means an assortment of eccentric oddballs can pop by at any moment to chat, compete in games, and engage in comic revelry. With all that and regular bonus episodes, we bet your favorite part will still be the plugs. And now the clip is from the episode from June 21st, 2021, and it features Sparks, that's the band Sparks, Edgar Wright, Ben Rogers, and Matt Apodaca. So, in the episode description it says director Edgar Wright returns along with Ron Mail and Russell Mail of the band Sparks to talk to Scott all about their new documentary, The Sparks Brothers. Then, cameraman Jack Furs returns to spread the word about a stolen car that belongs to the vigilante known as the Night Wolf. Plus, notorious wimp Buck Tango stops by to make an announcement. Now, when I listened to this, I was not aware. It makes it sound like Buck Tango is a reoccurring character, so I'm not sure if that's... I don't know if that's true, or how he's notorious, or rather it just says notorious because it's funny. Because it is funny. And the clip actually happens to feature Buck Tango, who is Matt Apodaca.
But we do need to get to our next guest. And look, this is very exciting. I've been hyping this up for the last hour. We have a guy with an announcement coming on the show.
Okay,
have you ever made an announcement? Yeah, please film it.
Yeah.
Okay. He's picking up his gear. That's good to see. Please welcome. We don't need the smoke. We don't need the smoke. Please, the Vaseline. Ron wants the Vaseline. This is exciting. He's a guy with an announcement. Please welcome for the first time on the show, Buck Tango.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me. Hello. Let's just get right to it, shall we?
Let's tarry no further. Let's get to I've been talking about this announcement. We don't want to have any kind of deferment. We don't want to have any sort of small talk, anything. We just want to get right to this announcement. By the way, this is Edgar Wright.
Hello, Edgar. Hello, Ron. Hello, Russell.
Hi there.
So, and this is Jack Furs over here.
Good to see you. Thank you for filming me. This is...
is this enough Vaseline? We want to get to your announcement, of course, but is this enough Vaseline?
You know, I mean, if we're trying to get to my level of acceptable for Vaseline, we're going to be here all day, so this is good for right now.
I got a lot of Vaseline on there.
Okay, well, I mean, look. Go nuts, my man. This is just something that I need to just get.
This is your announcement we're getting to?
I think we should just get right to it.
We don't want anything else in the way of this announcement. We want to get to it right now.
Let's get right to it. So for years, for my entire life, I've been bullied. I've been persecuted by the cools.
Is this the announcement that you've been bullied?
It's part of it. This is not breaking news to me or anyone. Everyone knows.
Right.
I'm a walking target.
Well, you seem to be a weak, feckless looking.
I'm a little bitch. I'm just
Well, if you want me to teach you some wolf jitsu, I do have a dojo where I do teach some self-combat.
What is wolf jitsu again?
Wolf jitsu is my own patented brand of martial arts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So and it's basically doing martial arts while making wolf sounds.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to simplify it.
It's reductive, but that's what it seems like. Okay.
I'd be happy to learn a martial art. I can tell you from experience, it's not helped me in any sort of way. I've tried BJJ. I've tried karate.
What's that now, BJJ?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, I thought that was something else.
Yeah, I believe I've been on the receiving end of some BJJs every once in a while.
I have tried it.
So yeah, I
dabble.
They don't click. I just can't because I'm so feckless. I'm so weak. I'm so wee.
You're slight.
I'm slight. I'm paper thin. I fold. You understand?
Yeah. When you turn to the side, it's very difficult to see you.
Yeah. That's why I have to. That's why I'm facing this issue head on. And what I'm here to announce is that I'm building a mech.
What?
I'm building a mech. I'm building a mechanized suit for me to exist in. Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. I gotta say, I'm sorry I missed the shot.
Oh my God.
Oh no, you weren't filming?
I wasn't paying attention for a second.
Were you Vaselining that lens?
This was my big thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do we need to go back?
Sorry,
we can take it again, right?
Let's do it again.
Do it with that kind of intensity. I'd love to see. Edgar, maybe direct him with what he needs to get into character here for a second.
I just I need to kind of just go a little slower. I kind of I missed it the first time.
Okay.
I think none of us understood what you were saying when you said mech too. That was the biggest problem.
Yeah, I see that there are a lot of issues.
I was worried it was some sort of slur.
I think his story would be a lot more compelling too, with maybe some underscore.
Do you guys want to hum something maybe?
I don't know. Yeah, because it's kind of just really, so far it's kind of boring. I don't feel
sure
much of your story.
I would love. Okay, so I'll just get into it. I was born.
Let them
rolling.
Set the are we rolling?
We are rolling.
We have the Vaseline.
Yes.
We're slopping some on. Okay. Now, Edgar, we need you to say, of course, that magic word that I love to hear when I'm on set, which is action. I'll let you say that. And then Russell, since it was your idea, why don't you start humming, giving him a little underscoring. Here we go.
And action.
I spent my entire life in the shadows of bullies. One day, I've had my ass kicked every single day for my entire life. No one gives me any sort of respect, but that is not happening ever again. For I have an announcement. I am building a mech.
A what?
Yeah. I thought you were going to clear this up.
So what a mech is have you?
That was great, by the way. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Edgar. That was.
I think we got that.
I'm going to add it.
I think we got it. If you were making this movie, Edgar, would you say we have it cut print, or what would you desire another take?
I would maybe I'd say that was great, and then I would look over at my producer and do a big eye roll.
Okay, well, let me tell you, this I'll take the note.
That was only temp music, by the way.
Yeah. We'll pay for something.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm open to feedback.
So you can find the show on Twitter at capital COMEDY, capital BANG, capital BANG. The guests you can find, the band is actually at Sparks Official. That is all lowercase, SparksOfficial. Edgar Wright can be found at all lowercase on Twitter at EDGARWRIGHT. Ben Rogers, who played cameraman Jack Furs in the program, can be reached at BEN_ORDGERS, and Matt Apodaca can be reached at all lowercase MATTAPODACA. And you can reach the host, Scott Ackerman, at all lowercase SCOTTAUKERMAN. And if you're looking for the show's website, go to www.earwolf.com. That is ear as in EAR, wolf as in the wolf that howls, .com/show/comedy-bang-bang. And now we have reached the end of the episode, as many of you may have gleaned from the music loop that is playing in the background. Or perhaps it's these most recent words I've said to you that have also contained the phrase, and now we've reached the end of the episode, which are pretty much a dead giveaway. If the outro music doesn't make it as obvious as I was hoping. Hell, I can't even hear the music until I put the show together. That particular I being a version of me, in my future, which is also both of our pasts. If you wouldn't mind reviewing and rating us wherever that's possible, you would be doing us the greatest of favors because it helps people find us. How did you find us? Did someone recommend us to you? Did you click on us out of curiosity because we were on the same page as something else you were looking for? Or another option that I can't think of at the moment? I see I've written to myself in parentheses, take a moment and come up with another option. No, sorry, not going to do it. Anyway, tune in to our next episode, which should be number 260, and see what Marc Hershon cooks up for you. I should point out that both tune in and see are in quotes. Thank you for listening. Be decent to each other, and if someone asks you if you've heard anything interesting lately, would you mind telling them about us? We would really appreciate it. It's what we mean when we say, please, pass the succotash.
You've been listening to Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast, with your host, Tyson Saner, brought to you by Henderson's Pants and...
Imagine your company's name right here.
Rate us and review us at Apple and Google Podcasts. Find us on the web at succotashshow.com, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on iHeart Radio, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, and wherever fine soundcasts are streamed and or downloaded. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Succotash Show. Like us on Facebook. Email us at tyson@succotashshow.com or call into the Succotash Skype line at our toll call number 818-921-7212.
That number again is 818-921-7212.
You can also upload clips from your favorite comedy soundcasts directly to us using our direct upload link at hightail.com/u/Succotash. Succotash is produced and engineered by Joe Paulino through the auspices of Studio P Sausalito, the home of the hit. Our hosts are Marc Hershon and Tyson Saner. Our musical director is
Scott Carvey.
Our booth assistant is
Kenny Durges.
Succotash is executive produced by Marc Hershon. Until next time, I'm your loyal booth announcer, Bill Haywatt, reminding you to please pass the succotash. Goodbye. This has been a Succotash Patch production.